guys, this week's video is gonna be fun and something a little different. Usually I just do crochet tutorials because that's what I'm comfortable with, but a few months ago I did a week-long vlog and that was super fun. So I thought I'd give you guys a tour of my whole studio, show you everything and all of the different stuff I use and my little setup. Plus I have footage from when we moved here, so you'll get to see like a before and after of all the renovations I did. Don't hate me, but I didn't do videos the entire time because I was just trying to like get it done and get through life. But I do have really yucky and cringy footage of it when we first moved here before we fixed it up and made it really nice that I can show you. And I'll show you a bunch of the simple DIY things that we did to make it a lot nicer in here without spending a lot of money or even changing that much, just painting it and adding little details that really make it look nice again. Fair warning though, don't expect everything to be like Pinterest, pretty and perfect. For this video, I'm hoping we can get to know each other a little better. You can see into my world a little bit and where I work every day and create these fun little plushies that you guys like. And I'm hoping too, maybe the simple things I did can inspire someone else to fix up their space in a little way. It's a pretty small room, but I'll take you around and show you everything, so come on. My initial plan was to have this footage interspersed throughout the video, but it's way too overstimulating to have so many things happening at once. I thought we should just get all the yucky old footage out of the way in the beginning, and then you'll be able to enjoy the rest of the video more when you see how far the studio has come. We bought this house in Midcoast, Maine in the middle of February, so there was almost 3 feet of snow on the ground. My awesome father, who's an amazing craftsman and knows everything about construction, made the 12-hour trip up the coast to come see us and help us get the biggest construction stuff out of the way so that I could finish up the rest on my own. One of the reasons we fell in love with this house is because it had so much character, but along with that character came a bunch of like fire hazards. For example, it is not safe to burn anything in the fireplace in my studio, which is a bummer, but at the same time it's kind of a blessing because my yarn won't smell like wood fire now. Because it's never going to be safe to have a fire in there. We could take off the heat vents and kind of just make it into a pretty mantle area. One of the first things I picked out from my studio before we even moved here was that pretty witchy wallpaper. I brought a piece of the wallpaper with me to Home Depot when I went to pick out paints. I ended up using the wallpaper to find similar colors that I could paint the walls and my cabinet. Painting the floor this millennial gray I found on clearance might have been the worst thing I did, but I didn't have it in me to pull up a bunch of asbestos tiles, so it is just a problem for future Annie to deal with. So here is the studio after 9 months. I'll take you around to show you all of the coolest things. First off, my puppy dog Rainy. Her and my cat fight over this fluffy donut bed. Not like literally, but if my cat sees the dog in there, you better bet the cat is going to be there every day for the next week. I ended up keeping the built-in cabinets, and I'm happy I did because even though it's a super awkward height to sit at, it's great for standing. So I kind of have a sitting and standing desk if I get tired of sitting when I'm working at my computer. I try and stay organized on a whiteboard with all of my different ideas and what I want to accomplish for the week. And then the walls were so messed up and just yucky. So I basically covered them with anything I could find. Cutesy pictures, stuff I get in the mail, some patterns, my hand-painted eye sets, so when I go to make them, I know I'm putting the right colors in each one. And just more cute posters. And I found this cool cat picture in the clearance section. Over here we have all of the plushies I'm going to list in my shop soon, plus all of the ones on the wall. The ones in the bin would not fit. And then under that I have 2 totes, one of them full of plushies that are already listed, and the other one is full of wearables that are already listed on my shop. Anytime something is actually for sale online, someone could buy it at any time. I keep it in a tote so it stays nice and clean. Over here I have my new plushie I've been working on. I'll show you guys. I'll probably finish the design and share with my Patreon members before I add this video. So head over to Patreon if you want to see the guy finished. I really want to design a big raven because they're my favorite birds and it is spooky season. It was very hard to get him to look okay with a smaller nose because I didn't want him to have a big ginormous nose. So ignore the big gaping hole in the plushie. But something cool about him is that I did dual color wings. So it's like an extra detail that under his wings is a pretty color. The hole is open because I'm going to make a tail there. I have lots of sketches of him made dressed up as like fun different characters, so I'm really excited to make him. I still have to figure out the feet and the tail, but other than that, he's pretty much done. I like the way he came out. I was actually thinking of calling her Mama Raven because the little birdies could be her babies and it would be really cute. This little stand here is usually where I keep my in-progress stuff. These blueberries are for a video idea I had. I always get messages about like, I'm a beginner, I've never crocheted before, can you help me? It's always tricky because some of my tutorials go fast. So I thought I would record this blueberry. It's extremely easy, really slowly go through like every single thing a beginner might want to know. So it could be a pattern for absolute beginners. This is one of the 3 shawls I made for my new pattern. Here's one of them hanging up on the wall. This yarn was so cool. I'll look up what it's called and put it on the screen. It's so soft and nice, and I love the color shift. It looks amazing. All I have to do is weave in the ends and then block it for the photos for the pattern. And then down here, I keep printouts of all of my patterns because I do not like reading a pattern on a screen. I like to watch shows and music and podcasts in the background, but I don't like looking at a computer screen for a pattern. So I keep printouts of all of my patterns down here. Anytime I want to make one of my patterns, I just use that. Here's my little desk area. I put on cute little cats so you guys would have something to look at. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, they're the best cookies ever. I got my label printer. I print out all of my shipping labels, and I do thank you stickers and a bunch of different stickers for my positive posts on there. I write all of my patterns, answer my emails, and everything else on this old Mac computer. I actually got this refurbished because when I finally had enough money to buy my own, they didn't make them anymore. We had always used these in art school and I really loved them. So I went and I found this one that's refurbished and it's been completely fine. I've never had any issues with it. The only thing is the storage is pretty low. So I have a 5 terabyte hard drive that I use. This is a great investment too for your business. If you're looking for a printer, definitely get this one that has tanks of ink instead of ink cartridges. I've had it for more than a year and I've only ever filled up the black, and I print in color all the time. I have my cutesy little llama guy, my microphone I do voiceovers on. Here's a kind of silly list, but it's a list of patterns I wanted to separate to make their own listings, because sometimes people will look at the listing photo and if they don't like the plushie that's in the listing photo, they won't look at the rest. My 14-in-1 Loso cow pattern, I was gonna try to separate that to like 2 or 3 cows each so that each one could be in its own listing photo, but I'll still keep the original up too if people want to just get the original. But that's just like something strange I've noticed, but I get it. I mean, if you don't like the plushie in the picture, why click through to see the other one? Here's the thing that took probably the most work in the studio, the non-functioning fireplace. You saw earlier my dad come and fix it up, take away all the weird stuff. The only thing that has changed since then is this summer. I think the humidity made the wallpaper like split apart a little. I still have 1 extra roll of wallpaper though, so I was gonna see if I could fix it. It's not that noticeable, but sometimes I notice it. And for the fireplace, I did end up adding 1 more trim, this like fancy leaf trim around it, and I just keep my books and a cute picture down there. And then the studio sign, my dad made me that from a really old cherry tree that he cut down. Now let's head over to this side of the room. I just got my very own house plant. I'm hoping it'll like cascade down and look really awesome, especially in the winter when it gets kind of depressing. So I have actually been watering it so it won't die. I love a good 90s creepy cat. I actually found that at a thrift store, I think. This little guy down there, I did the cross stitching for that. Sometimes I feel self-conscious because like everything in my house is like a little beat up because it's old, like this wood door. But I tried to keep as many of the original wood details as I could, and it's okay that they're a little beat up. The house is like 70 years old, so what do you expect? Over here I have my little hat mannequin I got, and these are the twisted headbands that I've been making. I actually started making a bunch of them recently because I'm gonna have a huge shop restock, and I was thinking of actually doing a farmer's market in my town for the falls. Kind of hard to display them. I cut pieces of cardboard to be the exact size, and I think that works really well. Here's some other ones. I really like that one. And I did some with like half of the patterned yarn and then a solid color yarn. I still have a bunch more yarn I'm trying to use up, so I'll keep making them. And then stuff like little scrunchies and soap savers that I make. I did end up covering the ugly painted floor with this big rug. It's okay. It's one of those modern, cheaper rugs. It's pretty thin, but at least it kind of fits the room and the vibe. This whole side of the wall, these are the built-in shelves. I did a lot of work to try and level them, and there's about 4 tubes of caulk and a gallon of paint to unyuckify them. Let's start over here and we'll work our way around and I'll show you everything. My daughter loves to do art and she always makes me cool paintings. So this is one of 2 art galleries. I have Lemon Dragon, one of my favorites, and there's one of my Halloween cats. And then this stuff is super cool. My daughter helped me one day. We mixed all of the different types of glitters I had, got it all together, and used these leftover jars I had just sitting in the garage, where now I can see all of my different eye color options. I have a bunch of color shifting glitter, chunky glitter, there's like special shapes of glitter, and then these small ones down here are all my color shifting flakes, and I have them labeled with the exact name of the color so nothing gets mixed up. It took me forever to do, but I'm happy I did because I used to just have them thrown in a bin if you watched the how to paint safety eyes video. So now I have them out. It's really cool. Something I've been meaning to try too, if you see that kind of yellow and pink one, those are glow in the dark powders. So I really want to experiment sometime and figure out if I can paint eyes that glow in the dark. Moving our way up, we have this side of the shelf, which is basically plushies and wearable yarn. I went through all of my yarn hoard and I found this extra basket too. I want to try to fit up there a fancier yarn. It's all just cotton. A lot of this is like store-bought, but then this is like fancier hand-dyed stuff. This was from a local dyer from where I used to live. This yarn is so beautiful, but I don't know what I'm gonna use it for. I think I got it when I was on vacation in the mountains. On my site, I have a bunch of really nice merino wool hats for sale. I usually do them made to order, and every time I make one, I have like this much left. That's what these 2 bins are, all leftover little scraps. Maybe one day I could try to make a really cool multicolored hat and use them all up. These puppies, which I've been saving forever and adding to every now and again when I have free time. The reason I'm doing that is because of that sheet I showed you, where I'm gonna try to separate them. One pattern with, say, husky, for example, that includes a small, medium, and large, just husky. And then one pattern that has a small, medium, and large, just Aussie and pug, you know. Lately, I've just been bored of making them though, so I haven't made much progress, but eventually I'll get to it and I'll do it. Maybe after Christmas, when everything really slows down, I'll just work on separating the dog patterns and making. The top shelves are basically a collection of all of my patterns. I usually end up keeping 1 or 2 plushies from each pattern that I make. Those are the original cats that I made for my first cat pattern. And then I've been making ghosts in my free time for my shop restock. These 2 guys were a recent pattern, Friendly Moth and Mothman. I posted the mods for these 2 Halloween cows on my Patreon. Those are the birdies from my last video. And then I have all of my Halloween cats. The tester call is open right now, but by the time I post this video, I think I'll have sent the pattern out to testers. And I just noticed when I'm filming this, I'm so close to 10,000 total orders on my website. Thank you guys. I set it to total orders instead of items sold because if I did items sold, it would be like way more. And I bought the smaller counter, so I want to try to make the counter last as long as possible. So I set it to the lower number of like total orders. I still think it's really cool. 10,000 total orders on my website is great. Now on this side, we have all of my plushie yarn that I like to use every day. I ended up caking a lot of it just so it looked a little neater and I can access more colors, and just if you don't see the color a lot of times, you forget you have it. So I spent like 4 days caking it all and ended up breaking my yarn winder because yarn winder does not like yarn this thick. But it worked out and it's all mostly neat and tidy, other than like the new skeins that I'm getting. I'm just kind of like tucking in there until I bite the bullet and buy a new yarn winder. The only downside to it is that I can't reach the reds. I can't reach up there in that corner, so I have to get out a little ladder that we use for painting whenever I want to get a new red or when I have to put them all back. And this is all yarn that I've collected over the past few years. I used to get it on sale at Joann's, but now every time I need like black or white or a simple color, I've been going to Michael's and getting it. It's been working out so far at Michael's. This hamper is usually what I throw all of the red in before I put it back up there. And right now I have some of the burnout blanket bag because I thought it would be a really cool idea to crochet a giant cat. The only issue is I don't think that's enough to make a cat. So I'm waiting for it to go on sale at Michael's and then I'll go back and get some more. Over here on this wall, I have my little sign that I use for my markets and this shawl just hanging up to remind me to finish that pattern because it is done. I just kind of neglect my wearable patterns sometimes, so I really got to get that finished. I had it tech edited and everything. It's literally perfect. I just have to get the pictures and publish it. Over here, we kind of have a little eye cart, backings and blanks of a lot of the sizes I use often. And then here are most of the hand-painted eyes that I kept for myself. Some because they were super cool and awesome, and other ones are more basic, but I know I'm gonna use them. I just like to keep a variety on hand so that I can use anything that I want to when I need it. And these are the new eye boards that I've been 3D printing and designing myself. The only issue is it's hard to get prints perfect, so I've been messing with the settings on my printer and trying to get them good enough to sell. My goal was to make like resin casts of them, but I'm still failing horribly at it, so we'll see. With some of my extra wallpaper, I did cover this cheap little square organizer, and I think it looks awesome. It makes it like fit in with the room more. I just keep my crochet hooks over here. Oh, you gotta see. This is a size crochet hook they recommend using with that giant yarn. Isn't it ridiculous? I don't even know if it's gonna work out, guys, but I think it's 25 millimeters. And I got the Susan Bates one because I'm a big fan of how sharp they are, and hopefully it works out. If not, it's still fun to try new things, right? And then in these bins, I just have extra worsted weight yarn and like cute yarn that I'm gonna be using for the knitting machine to turn into those headbands. And I also have like my cotton worsted weight yarn, just a plain stuff that I use for cat faces and little details on the plushies. That is about it. I have a little stool for when people come to visit, they can hang out. Over here is my other art gallery, and I have all of my stitch marker supplies and stitch markers that are for sale in these little bins. Oh, and last but not least, you guys are definitely gonna think I'm lame, but oh well. I have my accomplishments over here. I have my art degree, my bachelor's degree in old painting, and then look what I printed out. I'm so lame, I know, but leave me alone. I think it's really cool that people voted, and it meant a lot to me, so I printed it out and I hung it up, even though it's not like an official thing or anything. It's just like a few cool crochet artists on Instagram put it together, but still, it made me so happy that people liked my pattern. I also have these really cute felt lemons on this window. I'm pretty sure they were like summer decorations for a mantle. I just found them in the clearance section and thought they were really cute, so it adds a little fun detail. I'm usually not a huge fan of curtains because I like sunlight and no one is around, so you don't really need curtains, but I had to add them because in the winter time it is so bright because of all the snow outside. It's like blinding. So in the winter time I do have to close the curtains if I start to get a headache. I did have my husband put these curtain holdbacks on. I know they're kind of a lot and they're pretty gaudy, but it works for the craft room because the craft room is like extra, you know. I am happy how they hold the curtains open, and it is a little detail you kind of notice sometimes. My family and I went to the Common Ground Fair this weekend, and I got this really nice hand-blown glass ball. Me and my daughter put it up in the window so we can see it all the time. Okay, so it's actually Annie from the future. It is now Monday. I filmed most of that on Friday. And rainy. To wrap up the video, I thought I'd go around and point out the little things that I did that I think made the most difference. Starting with the shelves, I joked a lot that I used tons of like acrylic caulking and paint on the shelves. I'm sure I can find a spot where I didn't fix it because it's not 100% done. Like, you see that crack back there? That's just from the wood warping over time, but if you can see, that is a small detail that you notice and stands out. So for the rest of them, I did fill all of those cracks. And there were cracks through here. There were just little cracks everywhere. All through here I filled. Where they meet in there was a space. If you take the time to go around and fill all of those cracks, it just makes it blend in, and you don't really see all of the imperfections as much as you would as if it were a crack. Like right there, it's like a 1/4 inch difference between the shelf and the trim. But just going around and filling them, it takes a while, but it really makes it look a lot better compared to the spots where I didn't do it. For the fireplace, something really little I did was add this fancy bit of trim. It doesn't really serve a purpose, but it makes the whole thing look a lot more put together. And it kind of goes along with the same thing. There was a little crack between the wallpaper and the actual fireplace, so instead of filling it, I just put a piece of wood over it and made it look like it actually fits. Now that I pointed out the cracks that I filled, I can see the cracks that I didn't. Like, up there, there's a giant one. But moving over to the kitchen cabinet thing, something else I did that was a little frustrating but pretty easy is this peel and stick cover for the top. The top before was very light colored and stood out. I just wanted something darker. Oh, and I remember the reason I had to get this pattern and this one. This peel and stick covering paper was one of the only ones that was long enough to do one continuous sheet like this for the whole way down, because I didn't want to like have a seam going down the middle. So I just compromised and picked this one, even though it's not necessarily what I would have liked. And it's kind of a little too shiny, if you can see. And it just makes it blend in a little more rather than if it were a super light color. The last tip I have, other than hitting everything with the landlord special and 10 gallons of paint, is to just replace the knobs with something that is a little prettier and more unique. You don't have to buy the expensive plain knobs that they have at Home Depot or Lowe's. A lot of the times, craft stores, home stores, and even like little specialty stores sell different types of knobs. And just put them on to change it, and it makes it a lot cooler. Overall, I think the most important thing is that you create a space that you're comfortable in and that you enjoy spending time in, because that's what it's all about. Like I said earlier, I do feel bad sometimes that my room isn't Pinterest perfect and Instagram worthy and everything, but it's the best I could do without spending thousands of dollars to just rip everything out and redo it, which isn't really part of my personality anyway. I liked that this house was old and kind of wonky, so I just embraced it. I hope you guys liked the video. I'm back, only with Rosie Maple Moth's best friend, Luna Moth. I have had a lot of requests to do a tutorial for this, and it is totally more of an intermediate pattern, so I thought that'd be really fun, and I can start working on that soon once I get through all the other videos I have planned. I appreciate you guys giving me suggestions. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!